Well, a very, very good afternoon to you. It's so lovely to see you. I believe that it's for the last time, but it's not the last time, obviously, that we'll be talking to each other. But it's the last time of tea and training in this format. So thank you so much for joining. It's just lovely. So we're going to have a bit of a celebration today. So first and foremost, it might be a little bit early for you, but it's 5 o'clock here, so I think we're allowed. Cheers, Ginger. I think we're allowed. So cheers. Here's to it. Right. So onwards and upwards as always. It's been such a joy going through and going back over all of our fabulous talks and so on that we've had amazingly over the last 2 years. Can you believe that? The very first tea and training was on April the 15th, 2020, and we chose our clients' most favourite of all experiences. So we went to Blenheim Palace for the first visit, and then we explored, as you can see here, Highclere and so on. So we've gone back and had a look at what we've done, and we're going to have a bit of a rapid store, but there's not a huge amount that I'm going to miss, and I think you'll probably agree with me with this. There's not a huge amount I'm going to miss from the last couple of years, that's for sure. But I have loved doing tea and training. I've loved spending time with you guys every single week, and particularly in those early, very dark days where it was just terrifying. We didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody knew, nobody could understand what the prognosis was. The sun was shining, it was the most amazing weather, but we were all stuck inside. And certainly for us over here 2 years ago, we were allowed out for an hour's worth of exercise, and that was it. But no longer. So there's some really lovely things that we have that we've been able to do. And as always, as you know, everything is driven by our Humphrey's Promise, which I think means even more now somehow that we're back out there and enjoying and appreciating everything that the British countryside has to offer. And it is so incredibly precious, and been very grateful to be surrounded by it over the last 2 years where we haven't been able to go too far. So we've made even more friends. We've got even more privileged access for all of your lovely clients, which is just perfect. So let's have a little revisit. As I said, Blenheim was our very first episode on the 15th of April, and we had been filming in Blenheim about 3 weeks, I think, before lockdown, and it was glorious, but it was very quiet because we hadn't quite had lockdown at that point. So we had all these amazing videos, which was wonderful. Kensington Palace, do you remember, was when Lord Maurice Fermoy made his first ever appearance onto Tea and Training, and everyone fell in love with him from that moment on, which was glorious as he talked about exploring Kensington Palace. We revisited the lovely Lady Carnarvon as she showed me around Highclere Castle, and one that's really sort of close to my heart because it's very close to my family's hometown of Tetbury, down at Chavenage House, and a particular favourite with Poldark fans because it was Poldark's house. Officially it was in Cornwall, but there was a bit of poetic licence along the way. And obviously the amazing Windsor Castle. We did have a bit of a debate in one episode of Tea and Training comparing whether people would prefer to go to Windsor or Blenheim. We left the verdict open, but I know some people have very strong views. I think the closest we got to France over the 2 years was a visit to Wadston Manor and the amazing chateau-style splendour of Wadston Manor, the brilliant Shire horses and the maze and so on at Hampton Court. And again, one that's very close to my heart, Stoner Park, which is just 5 miles down the road from here at Henley. And it's fabulous to be able to actually go and visit William and Ailsa now. And they can't wait to welcome your clients back too, which is just wonderful. And at least we had videos to go exploring. And there's Chavenage, that's inside Highclere Castle in the beautiful drawing room, a sky view of Stoner Park, the amazing banqueting hall of Blenheim, that's up at Wadston at the lake, the beautiful church at Chavenage, the little chapel, the deer in the deer park at Stoner, the amazing entrance of Blenheim, inside the gorgeous smoking room. That never featured actually in Downton Abbey, so Lady Carnarvon told me. That's Oliver Cromwell's bedroom in Chavenage. These are some of the grounds of Wadston, and then back to Blenheim. Oh, and the splendid Queen Anne that enabled Blenheim to be built in the first place. So we've covered it all. It's really not bad going. And that's where Poldark used to ride out from the house, supposedly in Cornwall, but actually it was in Gloucestershire. But it's still beautiful nonetheless. And finishing with our beautiful, beautiful Stoner Park. So we went from history and culture and lords and ladies of the manor and so on, to remind ourselves that in the good times we have the amazing English season, and talked about all of the wonderful things that you can do, your clients can do at Henley Royal Regatta. And we are so excited. They have started building the regatta course. It is all appearing, the blue and white striped tents, and all of the bunting is going up. It's so exciting that we're going to have a proper regatta. And for the first time ever, it's going to be 6 days this year. So we're going to be even more exhausted at the end of regatta than we are normally. And then 3 days after the end of regatta, the fabulous Henley Festival starts on the same site, but everybody's in black tie, and there's Michelin-starred dining. And we have Tom Jones, Catherine Jenkins, the script, some amazing performances at Festival this year. So if any of your clients are coming over, I really, really would recommend that they go to Festival. It'll be something like they've never experienced. And we are booking tickets like crazy for Wimbledon. I think everyone's just been missing it like mad. And some of your clients, I'm guessing like Her Majesty the Queen, will be getting very excited about the Derby and about Royal Ascot and the St Leger and all of those fantastic horse racing meets. I know that the evening race meetings have started at Windsor. That was the first one this week, which is very exciting. So the English summer season has already begun. I mean, we've had Cheltenham, we've had the Grand National, and so on, which is very, very exciting indeed. And just a little reminder, if you need one, because I know we love talking about regatta, but this is what we get so excited about, putting on our beautiful summer dresses and floating around on the river and visiting times gone past, I think. And I don't know about you, but we're certainly very aware of our clients asking for things that are perhaps even more traditional than normal, and loving revisiting the past. There's a happy crew. They look like they've won. There are some friends of mine, actually. They were on a boat waving at me to go and join them, which I did later on. So it's just glorious, isn't it? And that's what we're all looking forward to. The blue and white striped tents and all the rowers and all that sort of thing, which will be glorious. And the obligatory duck that appears for every event in Henley. And if your clients can't get over for regatta, 2 weeks later, so the week after regatta we have Festival, 2 weeks after regatta we have the traditional boat festival, where lots of the most stunning, highly polished wooden boats and the Dunkirk little ships and so on all appear down the river, which is just magical. Now, do you remember Lord Maurice Fermoy, as I'm sure you do remember, was our very, very first guest speaker. And he was very excited because he had never, ever done a Zoom call, a Zoom, anything before. So he was amazing, and he just got absolutely stuck in, loved every minute of it, and he charmed you all so much that you kept asking for him to come back. So he did, and then he talked about game shooting, he talked about his grandparents, how they were great friends with George VI and all that sort of thing. So dear Maurice is just wonderful, and we all love him. I think Evie was rather popular as well, as, dare I say it, and no offence, Maurice, but Evie is probably the best looking of all of the guest speakers we had. So certainly I think the female feedback was very positive. And darling Dave, who just breeds all of his amazing hawks and falcons and birds, gave us a wonderful, wonderful time talking about all of his extended family. And then the amazing Charlie McLean, who the Times described as the best whisky expert in Scotland, which is quite an accolade, to put it mildly. And Charlie, that day, I even drank whisky that day, I seem to remember, just to sort of join in the fun and keep him company. But he was just fabulous. And we're going to do a lot more focus in on Scotland and so on, but I will tell you more about that in a minute. So we have explored the countryside. We've been from Scotland down to Cornwall, from the Chilterns and across to the Cotswolds. So we have really explored the whole lot. And obviously all in the name of good research. We had a rather fabulous trip down to Cornwall last September. The sun shone every day. We went down to we watched the 39 Steps at the Minack Theatre. We went to the Lost Gardens of Heligan, the Eden Project. It was just stunning. So all sorts of fabulous ideas to share with your lovely clients. And we had to share a little bit of the honey-coloured buildings of Broadway. That was Broadway Tower you saw at the beginning, but it's just absolutely magical, and a really special little town, and a brilliant base from which to go exploring the North Cotswolds. So for trips up to Stratford, going to Cheltenham, Chipping Norton, Chipping Camden, all that area, Burford and so on. Broadway is the perfect starting point. Now, we're going to be talking a bit more about this. That's me on a bike. That's quite a rare sight. We're going to be talking quite a bit more about the wine growing in this area, because the Chilterns and Kent have sort of followed, or Chilterns have followed Kent as being a real wine growing area. And there's the wonderful Jan, who owns this beautiful Fairmile vineyard. But we are getting more award-winning vintages popping up all over the place. So we're working with all the vineyards really closely, and watch this space, because the wine is just fabulous. In fact, this one is just from about 2 miles down the road. So there you go. Now, we do love our countryside, as you know, but your clients love visiting the cities. And no great surprise when you've got, I mean, the colleges, the history and everything, and even Harry Potter in Oxford is just a wonderful draw. And we're arranging a honeymoon for a lovely couple, second marriage for both of them. And the gentleman in question lived in Oxford when he was the grand age of 19 years old. He's a few years older than that now, but he cannot wait to take his new bride to go and explore all the beautiful places in Oxford that he used to go. They're also going to Henley Regatta, because he's rather proud of his rowing history as well. But Oxford is just a gorgeous place to amble around and get on a skippered punt as well. So really get into the spirit with a bottle of champagne. Obviously, you know, can let the skipper do all of the hard work. And we've done a few trips to London, talking about boarding HMS Belfast, going down the river on an Italian Reba, which is just gorgeous, and arriving at the O2, climbing over the top of the O2, which gives you the most magnificent views of the city, exploring, obviously, Kensington Palace with Maurice, who else, And then he will take your clients down to the brilliant Horse Guards Parade for the 4 o'clock punishment parade, introduced by Queen Victoria when she found a few of her guards were a little bit worse for wear at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So from then on, they were on parade and made sure that they were all sober and guarding her appropriately. And because Horse Guards is so close to the London Eye, they can happily jump aboard a private pod on the Eye, have a glass of champagne, and it's amazing. It goes so slowly, but what you can see from those pods is just glorious. The beautiful honey-coloured buildings of Bath, Roman baths. For those Jane Austen fans amongst us, there is nowhere better. I mean, you've got to go promenading in Bath because it's just a must. And then the fabulous city of Edinburgh. You need your comfortable shoes for Edinburgh. There are lots of hills, but golly, it's worth climbing up and down those amazing hills. So it's worth a day or two in the city. Although, having said that, we've got a gorgeous couple returning finally. Last time they were over was in 2019, and they are exploring Ireland, Southern Ireland, and that we had strict instructions. We do not want any time in any city anywhere. So they're flying in and out of Dublin, and that's the only time they are seeing any city at all. So that's all happily doable as well. And Oxford, even on a dull day, look at this, is just magnificent. The buildings are quite spectacular. And we'll be revisiting the old Bank Hotel as well, just to share a bit more information. Now, you will know that I'm a little bit biased about the beauty of my hometown of Henley-on-Thames, and particularly in the summertime. It just comes alive. It's quite amazing. So lots to see and do. Beautiful old vintage bookshops, the oldest teddy bear shop in the world, or just to have a bit of a wander around. And now we've got the amazing new hotel. There's lots to see. Windsor in 2022, I think, will be unlike any year. You may well have read that Her Majesty the Queen has now moved permanently to Windsor. We've always known, we've always believed, we've always thought it was her favourite home, and she has taken up permanent residence there now. So the work still carries on in Buckingham Palace with her staff, but she's happily set up now in Windsor for the duration, and amazingly celebrated her 96th birthday last week, which is extraordinary and gets you quite emotional, actually, because we don't want her going anywhere, obviously. And the glorious Hambledon, which is about 5 miles down the road, but is probably the most famous film star in the area. You'll recognise Hambledon from Midsummer Murders, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Miss Marple, all sorts of Agatha Christie things, 101 Dalmatians. Oh, it's all sorts has gone on. So they're very used to filming over in Hambledon. And of course, the amazing Shakespeare's home of Stratford, which is really special. Just a lovely, lovely place to go, and well worth a visit to the theatre. Now, the Cotswolds is absolutely beautiful, but I think one of the things that the Chilterns sort of has in its favour is so much the Chilterns is on the Thames or the Isis, or various tributaries of the Thames, and spending time on the river is just so magical. Everything goes so slowly, and we always recommend at least a couple of hours out on a river cruise. Have a nice picnic, glass of bubbles, and so on is well worth doing. And as I say, we're going to talk a bit more about the Old Bank and the Relay in Henley, our wonderful new hotel in Henley, which really is just lovely, overlooks the river. The Old Bank has the most incredible apartment at the top of the hotel, which looks across all the dreaming spires and so on, for which Oxford is so famous. So 2 smaller hotels. And then again in London, the Aldwych, we had a lovely chat with Janine Marshall, the general manager, who talked about the culture and the the independence and the really lovely special feel of One Aldwych, for which I can vouch because I have been very lucky enough to stay there. It's got an amazing amazing character. It's one of its own, and one of the few independent hotels in London, and certainly one of our favourites. But then the Soho Hotel, part of the Ferndale Group, and the amazingly quirky design and interior design and bedrooms and so on. They're extraordinary. The Ham Yard and that whole group are just magical. So whatever your client's preference is, we will be happy to recommend. Now, as you know, and just to sort of reaffirm it, we don't have any direct affiliations with any hotels whatsoever. We look after all of the Relay guests, Cliveden, the Newt, Heckfield, the Four Seasons and so on. We look after all of their guests out in the countryside. But because we know the hotels so well, whatever style and so on your guests are looking for or you're looking for, just give us a call, because we're not biased towards any of them, and we'll just tell you the one that suits the requirements the best. It's a tough job going around visiting all these beautiful hotels, but I have to do it, obviously, all in the sake of research. Now, the thing that I guess we started off doing, and the thing that we're most well known for, are the incredible number of experiences. And 7 years ago, when I launched Humphreys of Henley, we had 12 experiences, and I was so proud of that. We had the glorious Stoner Park, and we had falconry and clay shooting and horse riding and so on. But we started off with 12 experiences. We are now approaching 200 experiences across the British countryside. And I'm so proud of that. We have met some incredible people through the years, and to get up to that number, we're just over 190 experiences now. So whatever your clients love doing, I think you're pretty safe to say that we've got something, we really do have something for absolutely everyone. So whether it's birds to planes, riding horses or riding bikes, foraging or exploring the stones of Stonehenge, all of the amazing locations for Bridgerton. The new Downton Abbey movie is out. Midsummer Murders, Poldark, all of them. I mean, we can get up close and personal with all of those amazing locations. And something we're doing a lot more of are the amazing classic car tours and so on. There's a real growth, particularly in September, as we've talked about with Salon Privé, and these amazing automotive events that take place, a lot of them in September. But just hiring a classic car for the day and driving through the beautiful countryside with the wind in your hair and heading for a nice pub for lunch and that sort of thing has become really popular. So we'll be doing a lot more of that. So we're obviously not sharing all 190 odd experiences with you, but there are a lot. And also just some of the ones that we've created, we've sourced, or whatever you might say, through COVID. I was down at Minturn House down in beautiful Somerset just 2 weeks ago, and it really is, I mean, no picture really does it justice, but Lord Henry Digby, who owns it, is such a character, knows all the stories and the scandals and the Lord knows what of his family and his ancestors. And really interestingly, because that's where the Churchill family started their existence in public life, if you like. So we are putting together a Churchill from cradle to grave, going from Minturn up to Blenheim, where Winston Churchill was born, and then down to Chartwell in Kent. So for any Churchillian fans amongst your clients, we're creating that. But Minturn, in its own right, is just absolutely stunning. We created a beautiful first wedding anniversary dinner for the loveliest couple. They really were just delightful. And as you can see on that picture on the top right, they sat there on the gallery at the on the terrace at the National Gallery and looked out across at Nelson's Column, and they were served fabulous food. They had a harpist playing some music for them and a private tour of the National Gallery when it closed to the public. It was so special. And then if the lovely husband hadn't done quite enough surprising his very, very happy wife with this wonderful treat, as they were served coffee, he produced a diamond necklace and put that round her neck, which at which point we all cried. We were rather overwhelmed with that. And a couple of new wonderful additions at Henny Royal Regatta. The Hidden Garden is utterly glorious, fabulous food and table for the day, and you can peer over the hedge and watch all the racing, which is stunning. And this was a bit of a funny one. We had a request for a family that was self-isolating in the Mandarin in London. It was about February last year, and I got a call on the Sunday morning saying, can we do a chess experience? But they can't leave their rooms, they can't do anything. So long and short of it, ended up having a lovely conversation with Nigel Short, who is Britain's most successful chess grandmaster. He was in Athens, I was in Henley, the guests were in London, and we arranged for him and the wonderful chap who has a very Russian name, which escapes me at the moment, my apologies, who is the president of the International Chess Federation. And Nigel and he delivered a Zoom masterclass of chess to this fabulous family staying in London. So that was a first, but it just shows, even though I got the message at about 8:30 on a Sunday morning, we had it all sewn and sorted by lunchtime on the Sunday, and they had their masterclass on the Monday. So it just shows everything is possible, even in the midst of lockdown and self-isolating and so on. And we will never, ever stop doing that. And then obviously the absolute ultimate now this year is the wonderful Jubilee collection. So our 7 collections of wonderful experiences celebrating Her Majesty the Queen, and everything is starting to really build up over here. There's a real sense of excitement about the celebrations. We'll obviously be celebrating across the country in that first weekend of June, where all of the main events are taking place. But as you know, our Jubilee collection is available for your clients until the 31st of December. So whatever your clients would like to do, whether it's from the equestrian or the Queen's treasures or the palaces and castles, whatever they would like to do, it will be there for you to offer them throughout 2022. She deserves a whole year and more of celebrating. I'm a bit of a fan, as you've probably gathered. So that is it. A huge thank you. We have achieved a phenomenal amount, I think, over the last 2 years. But I think it's been spending time talking to you all every week and sharing our ideas and our thoughts and so on, which has certainly kept me going. So a big thank you from me. It's meant a lot, and has certainly helped me, and I hope has helped you through 2 years that we really do not want to go through again, that's for sure. So from here on in, I decided that tea and training is a bit tougher because of the sort of set time and so on. I know a lot of people watch the recordings and so on, but we are going to have a complete relaunch of Humphreys of Henley TV, which is very exciting. So we will be relaunching it next month. So every week you will receive a recorded episode from whisky distilleries, from hotels, from all of these fabulous destinations that you know we love visiting. They will all be on the website, they will be on the YouTube channel, so they are all there for you to share with your clients. Or if you just fancy a bit of a virtual visit to Britain and to the British countryside, they are all there for you to have a look at. So we're not bowing out. But if you have a request of any kind, I hope you know now that we will always put something together for you. If you have a number of your colleagues and peers and so on, and co-workers that you would like to do a special episode for, you know I love doing this. You know I love talking about the British countryside. So please, all you have to do is ask. So, oh, I think you're going to make me cry. You've been sending me lovely messages. 2-year journey. Thank you. Bright days ahead. I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much. And yes, working on Ireland and an education, and you've learnt lots. Well, it's been my absolute pleasure. So thank you so much. You see, you've made me cry. So thank you, and can't wait to talk to you very, very soon. Really take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.